first of all, that there is a problem on climate, on environment, on resources. There exist a large number of solutions to these problems, technically speaking. The problem with all those solutions are that they are more expensive in the short term than the solutions that we are currently using. How can I know? I can know because if they were more profitable, they would have been exploited long time ago by business and society. And so the challenge is not to come up with a solution to the problems. The challenge is to make those solutions that exist interesting from the point of view of profit maximizing business. And since all of the solutions are more expensive than the alternative, which is to do nothing. And so the point is, what is business to do? What business should do is to act on the regulatory framework, to change the legislation around the business scene so that the playing level remains flat, but the good solutions become profitable. And so I don't believe for 1 minute that voluntary action among competing firms or voluntary well-intended action by individual consumers will solve the problem. Because the problem is to get in place solutions that are more expensive than the cheapest one. And democracy doesn't go for expensive solutions, and the market does not go, or the business does not go. The problem is that we need to stop using coal, oil and gas. Which means, for instance, that we need to stop buying fossil cars and buy electric cars. So you then have to start asking the question, what time horizon do you need as an investor in order to be sure that putting your money into electric cars will give a higher return than putting the money into fossil cars? And if you use a 2-year time horizon, totally clear that this won't work. Yeah. If you do what Elon Musk is doing with Tesla, at least he's using a 10-year type of horizon and probably a 20-year horizon. And at the same time, he's saying that if there is one thing that is sure, it is that electric cars will be the future. And there is another thing which is not sure, and that's whether I will make money on this. Of course, because this is a long shot, and at once when he has his battery factory, the Chinese will build a battery factory which is twice as big and half the unit cost. And the mega factory in California will be not profitable. The best example of this is, you might remember the Stern Commission. And what did he have to do in order to reach his conclusion? He lowered the discount rate to 1% per year in order to make sure that a human life around the year 2100 was more or less on par with a human life at this point in time, so that he could show that letting climate change continue would actually be costly. Most people in the world didn't notice that he had to lower the discount rate to 1% per year in order to get to that conclusion. All his friends, the macroeconomists, did discover, and they have spent the last 10 years criticizing the Stern report, which has of course been welcomed by the rest of the world, criticizing it for using that 1% a year, saying that there is no reason in the world to choose a discount rate which is different from the one in the financial market. They are stuck in business as usual, but not for lack of imagination, but because of the straitjacket of the quarterly reporting. So basically it is that the shareholders in Western capitalist society are the embodiment of the short-term nature and the impatience and the Western population. And so, yes, the guys are stuck, but they are stuck because the board doesn't allow them, because the shareholders don't allow them. So one of the things we have been doing with some success is to ban quarterly reporting, which is a good idea. And if you could, and also the big move in the market to take companies off the stock exchange. for a while to privatize, so that you can then do the long-term restructuring, and then you can put them back afterwards. These are the two wise maneuvers. This is of course one of the things that has also helped. The fact that many institutional investors have withdrawn from the ownership of coal shares. That's the first grand success in this area. Of course, it did happen too late. It's kind of interesting to see, if you take the indices for the coal companies, they have lost roughly 70% of their value in Germany, where I know the thing, since 2010. The number of years we had to work in order to get the ethical committee established in the pension fund, and then to get them to start acting, rather than just saying everything is okay because this, that, and the other, has been very long, and it is interesting because in the end, I think even those types of institutions will be up against the short-term profit desire of the human being. That the voters typically are not interested in parties that increase taxes, or parties that are trying to create a stronger government or more regulation.